Hello and welcome to the main stage productions here at the Miskatonic Playhouse. I'm T.A. Newman, your host and keeper of tonight's game. My team and I will be bringing to life adventures using the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, which contains mature themes, cosmic horror, character death, and loss of sanity. Our mystery can be found in the Miskatonic repository, where people like you and me can write adventures for others to play. We'd like to thank Sirenscape, whose tools have provided the background sounds that you hear. And if you'd like to become a friend of the Playhouse, then please support us on Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/Miskatonic Playhouse, where you can gain access to exclusive shows and content for as little as £1. But now it's time to pull back the curtain and roll the dice. Good evening and welcome to the Miskatonic Playhouse. Tonight, we shall be running The Castle of Greed, which is this beautiful scenario here, written by the wonderful Phaedra Florou. And it really is a fantastic scenario. And we've done some of Phaedra's work before. Phaedra is a great friend of the Playhouse. And you need to go and check out Phaedra over at the Stars Are Right as well, because they do some amazing work over there. Here, right now, running this, I have some wonderful investigators that we're going to talk to. But just before we do, I will introduce myself because I'm the least important person in this lineup. I'm T.A. Newman. I am the host of the Miskatonic Playhouse, and tonight I shall be attempting to run this game. But what I'd like to do now is go over to our wonderful players who are going to tell us who they are, where you can find them, and who they're playing tonight. And I think we'll start with Bridgett, if that's okay. Bridgett Jeffries, come on down.
I got no warning that I had to go first. Shame on the Playhouse.
Go.
Hi, everyone. I am the loud, giggly one. My name is Bridgett Jeffries. I am the owner of Symphony Entertainment, which is your one-stop shop for all things horror gaming. We focused on indie games, player agency, and an entire just embodiment of horror storytelling. So we do podcasting, we do publishing, we do proofreading, we do sensitivity reading. We do pretty much anything in the horror vein that you will pay me to do. In addition to that, I am also the community coordinator over at Chaosium. And if you're wondering what that means, don't worry, a bunch of us are too. The one thing I can tell you for sure that I do is support community content creators. So I navigated from the community ambassador role over into this community coordinator role. So we are running a best-selling scenario on the Miskatonic repository, which is Chaosium's community content platform, which is what the entire Playhouse has built an amazing community around. I am a massive fan of the Playhouse. I'm delighted every single time that they bring me back onto this show. I love being obnoxious. I love hanging out with them. And I love how much they just cross-support everything when it comes to community content. So if you're actually looking for additional help on how to publish, what's in compliance, what's not, how do you get to print on demand, blah, 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 you can hit me up at Bridgett@chaosium.com. That's a bridge that you walk across with 2 T's at chaosium.com, and I can help you bridge that gap. But the one thing I will say, do not discredit or do not sleep on joining the Miskatonic Playhouse Discord or the Symphony Discord or the Miskatonic Repository Con Discord, because we all kind of cross-pollinate. We all support each other. So if you are afraid, that's okay. If you don't know what's going on, that's okay. There are too many of us here that are literally in the ground cheering for you. You just need to come and plant yourself. So if you need me, holler at me. Otherwise, I'm going to hang out with my friends over at the Playhouse because it's one of my favorite places to be.
I think I'm going to listen to that every morning before I go to work. Just going to
new morning alarm clock.
Pump you up. Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. Thank you, Bridgett. Well, I think we'll roll over to Miranda, please. Miranda, tell us who you are, Miranda. What's your name, Miranda? Miranda?
It's Miranda. It's a big surprise. You probably know me all over Discord as Don't Stop Me Now. I'm here on the Playhouse, and I'm over on the Old Ways, where I run a variety of different games and also play in their Delta Green Impossible Landscapes plus some other scenarios of Delta Green over there, where I play Dr. Aaron Weber. Soon, depending on when this comes out, I will soon be releasing, or have soon started to release, a podcast with your friend Nate called Roll Better, where we focus on the player side of role playing and how to have more fun at the table. And tonight I'm going to be playing 65-year-old psychiatrist Dr. Vina McDonald. Okay. I'm very excited to be here.
Excellent. Do you know what? I think that's a voice that I'm going to need to record an audiobook. That's outstanding. Excellent. And Joe, let's run over to you.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jay Trier. I am the host, producer, player, sometimes keeper of How We Roll podcast. We're an actual play podcast. We've been going for about 9 years now, if you can believe it. We play Call of Cthulhu, Dungeons & Dragons, Alien, Root, all sorts of stuff. And I've just released a Call of Cthulhu scenario with my good friend Rena. It's called In Darkness We Wait. It's just being released on the podcast right now. I think it was recently reviewed by Seth Skorkowski, which is a massive, massive compliment. Awesome. And he pointed out all sorts of things that we forgot to do to fix. But it's a fantastic scenario and available now. And tonight I'll be playing the Reverend Earnest Culver, who is a very charming man who's going to lean into the sort of religious side of this scenario.
Classic typecasting, charming man. I used to get typecast as that.
No, you've never been typecast as that.
Oh, yeah. No,
oh,
sorry,
I'm off mute.
mistake.
That's my bad, babe.
Oh, interesting. Let's go to one of my other biggest fans, shall we? Hedge, please introduce yourself to our wonderful listeners.
Hi, everyone. My name is John Hedge. I'm the backstage manager over at the Miskatonic Playhouse, and I recently managed to get 4 Newman masks to go to Chaosium Con on my behalf, and everyone tried to take pictures with the Newman mask. I think he was the most popular person at the con. Tonight, I'll be playing Christine Hardee, and she is excited to be here and excited to help. She is an occultist, and I've heard that everyone is a big fan of me over here, so I am just so excited to help everyone out.
Outstanding. Right. Well, we are not going to waste any time. We are going to jump straight in. The thing I want to just point out to you as investigators is that you've already heard from one of your number. Bridgett, who's playing Wendy Levine. Wendy has already been in contact with you. She has called you. She has communicated with you, whether you know the Madson family or not. She's been in touch with you about coming over and helping in some kind of way. You've been invited to a meeting with the oil baron and entrepreneur Sam Madson with regards to his wife. His secretary, Wendy Levine, got in contact with an offer, and it was a significant amount of money for your services. So far, you've been told that Sam's wife has been having emotional outbursts and hysteric episodes, claiming to see things? Surely not. She is reportedly distracting him from his business, and, well, he'd like it sorted. Money is no object. You just have to get it done this weekend, so you have been invited over for the weekend. But before seeing his wife, Anna, at the Madson house, he's invited you to a local burger restaurant called Burger Castle to discuss your plan of action and hear your thoughts over some sliders. You are to be there at 7 p.m. sharp on Friday, the 16th of December, after his usual business day is complete. And that information has been given to you by Wendy. Very precise, very direct. Bridgett, has Wendy communicated anything else in that, or was there a tone with the way any of this was delivered to these guests?
My tone wavers between that hyper obnoxious level of professionalism and this weird undercurrent of empathy, and it clashes very poorly. But there was enough information to bait you, and I wasn't very clever about putting it out there. I put the money facing forward. But that empathy track is I also complimented your particular skill set. So whatever information I know about Miss Hardee or Reverend Culver or Dr. McDonald, all of that was also forward facing attached to the dollar amount. But it was very specific. I need you here at this time, at this particular location. Your discretion is advised. And then may I please have your favorite and your preferred beverage?
Nice. Excellent. So there's some considerate care there happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you your first handout here. I'm going to show to you the Burger Castle. This is what the Burger Castle looks like, with this big old sign out front showing the 5 cents for a burger. And I'm going to ask you all for a roll at the same time. Could you all please roll me luck?
Uh-oh.
You want us to roll luck? Because I have no luck.
Yes, let's roll luck. So could you roll your luck and then roll luck?
Okay, so is that 3d6 times 5?
It is indeed 3d6 times.
Oh, wow. So I've got 80.
Oh, me, wow.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, we're
So
coming
I
out
have
strong as
60.
well.
Excellent. And then
Rooms.
once you've got that, could you roll luck for me, please?
Hard success.
Okay.
It's just a regular success.
That's a failure for Vina with her 35 luck.
Oh, okay.
Also a fail for Wendy.
Right. Okay. So what I'm looking at here is the luck of your order, the luck of the draw, some might say. We could have done this with a pack of cards, but I like that we're using it in this way. Christina, you're the first one to arrive.
And that makes me very excited because I feel like I'm being punctual, which I think is really important.
Okay, so I just want to give you a quick description as you're being wonderfully punctual and important, and then we'll have the other characters arrive as you clearly get there first. So Burger Castle is indeed shaped like a castle, as you can see. Its white brick walls
It's
are
so
decorated.
cute.
It is, isn't it? It's quite a wonderful building. Great artwork. I would say the artwork in this scenario is done by the wonderful Mr. Howell as well, who is up for commissions. So if you like the artwork in this scenario, get in touch with Mr. Howell over at the Stars Are Right server. So the Burger Castle is indeed shaped like a castle. Its white brick walls are decorated with proud advertisements of their low prices. Only 5 cents a hamburger. Grab 'em by the bag. You enter the space inside, and it looks deceptively large compared to the relatively small exterior. The walls and floors are made of white porcelain and look sparkly clean. There are several little tables with stools dotted around, and a few larger booths. In the distance, you can see a window leading to the kitchen. Even from where you stand by the front door, you have a view of a couple of line cooks cooking meat patties and chopped onions on large grills. It smells fatty and delicious. So, Christina.
Yeah, I think I go up and I order a burger, fries, and a Pepsi.
Do you know, as you go in, there's a tray waiting for you. And because you'd given your prerequisite to Wendy on the phone, who asked for your favorite beverage, you go in and you've got one of the supreme burgers, you've got some fries, and you've got your Pepsi. Yeah, there's a little name tag there as well that's been handed on. You think this is a bit more of a personal touch, possibly Wendy, possibly Mr. Madson, who has invited you here for the weekend to this meeting. And you can see the tray there, and there's no one at any of the tables at the moment, though. There's just the fry cooks.
That's no problem. I should point out that Christina has a slightly odd backpack on. It's made of a large drum. It's a slightly odd looking thing, but she's kind of got the voodoo vibe going on. There's a lot of jewelry and there's a lot of bits and pieces, and it's all very flowing and purple. And there's this drum almost, and it's a string backpack attached. So she looks sort of out of a film almost. It's really done up, and she kind of pulls her drum off, places it down beside her in one of the booths. And she sneaks over and she takes a sip of the Pepsi and a couple of fries.
Nice. Okay. Well, as that's happening, Reverend Earnest Culver, you are our next guest to enter the Burger Castle. What do you do?
So, I mean, Reverend Ernest Culver is a large, tall man. He's actually quite good looking. In fact, he's very good looking. He's dressed
as well.
in his, very much so, dressed in his sort of reverent attire. He's got his dog collar on, and he'll step out of the taxi and head towards the joint. he has quite piercing blue eyes, and he'll pause as he enters and look around the room and then smile at kind of everybody. Although he is maybe slightly overweight, he also has a real presence that kind of attracts people to him. And he'll glance, smile, and move towards the counter to order, or maybe look around for Wendy or anyone else and see what he can say.
So you don't see Wendy just yet, but as you go in, you can see that there's 3 trays on this kind of main order area, and you can see one that has the little name tag, Reverend Earnest and Culver, and one of the cook fries just kind of looks over, big smile, gives a big wave. You think maybe do you know them? Are they one of your parishioners, maybe, or is it too hard to tell because there's so many of them? There's a moment. Do you know them? Don't you know them? But they look over. They've probably had instructions as well, either from Wendy or from Mr. Madson. And you just hear a voice from a young, very kind of grease-spotted young gentleman who's earning his kind of first wage here at the Burger Castle. She goes, "Oh, hi, Reverend. That's yours. That's yours."
Oh, and then, thank you so much. Very, very obliged. Great to see you. Great to see you. And thank you so much for placing this here. Sit anywhere? Is there a place to land, or can I just choose a spot?
Oh, you just, I think one of the other guests is over there. And he's just kind of like flipping patties as he's talking. And he's kind of like, he looks really proficient at it. Oh, I think there's another guest over there, but you can sit where you want, Reverend. God bless.
Thank you, and God bless. And he'll take up his tray, which has 3 burgers and an extra large Coke on it, and head towards Christine.
Nice.
Has a big smile on her face, and she's just sort of like smiling and waving. Very hi.
I don't believe we've met before. I'm Reverend Culver, but you can call me Ernie.
Ernie, I'm Christina Hardee. Christina's fan. It is lovely to meet you.
Charmed,
please
I'm
come
sure.
sit. That is a lot of burger you got going on there.
Well, I like to enjoy my food. You need to get a lot of energy when you've got such a large congregation, if you know what I mean.
I certainly don't, but I'm glad that you are.
And he'll squeeze into the seat opposite you.
Excellent.
Digging in with gusto.
Superb. I love it. Miranda, I think Dr. Vina McDonald is our next to arrive. So please tell us, how did you arrive and make your entrance into the Burger Castle?
Well, Dr. Vina McDonald drove herself here today. She's rented a car. She's a woman that is not very well put together, so it seems. She's more concerned about looking smart. She doesn't really care if she looks put together, as long as you know how smart Dr. Vina McDonald is. And so she'll be driving herself, as she has traveled quite a distance from New York, where she currently resides and where her office is, to be here in Kansas City. It's strange. I mean, I'm sure they could have found another psychiatrist somewhere, but I mean, I am the first female, one of the first female, I like to say, but one of the first female psychiatrists in the world, and so maybe that's what they were looking for. Obviously, my name is spread far and wide, and so I've found myself here at this burger joint where I'm concerned that the burgers will be too large, and also the Pepsi will be too spicy for me. I've asked that they water it down for me a little bit.
And fantastic. Well, you go in, you see that there are 2 trays left, one of which has your name on it, one of which has Wendy Levine's name on it.
It's interesting. The person that invites us here is here last. How is it not very timely at all, or punctual? Punctuality is very important to me. Okay, I will take my tray and go over to the ma'am, sir, you seem to also have these little cards with your names on it. Have you been invited here as well by Miss Levine?
We have indeed. I hadn't realized there would be such a gathering, but it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is the Reverend Ernest Culver, but you can call me Ernie. And he'll move up.
Nice to meet you, Ernie. My name is Dr. Vina McDonald. You can call me Dr. McDonald. And
Pleasure.
It's a pleasure to meet you, ma'am.
Dr. McDonald, it is a pleasure. I've actually read some of your work. I'm really interested in psychiatry. I think it's fascinating. It's such a clever idea.
Oh, it is very fascinating, and things are coming up all the time. There's this newfangled thing called a lobotomy, and they haven't done it on any humans yet. But I'm hoping that possibly I could be the first one to complete that.
Brains,
Maybe today. Yes.
brains have a
Maybe
lot of
today.
power.
Oh
Brains have a
God.
lot of power. Yes, I've used some in some of my more interesting work, and I think it's very important that we really appreciate the power of it.
What is it that you do for work, Miss Hardee?
I'm an occultist.
An
Oh,
occultist, and what would you do on your day-to-day basis as an occultist?
Well, I just do a lot of different things, to be honest with you. I see a lot of people. I have a store that I work in, and then I have a lot of people who are great fans of myself, so I work with them sometimes.
Really?
It's for those who find that conventional medicine doesn't really work for them, There's a lot of people who go and they try out these things, but the advice they're being given, where the wisdom of the ages, I feel is it's just a lot there's a lot more going on than we often realize, and science just hasn't really caught up with what we can really do if we try really hard.
Oh, well, I understand that. I mean, science has its place, of course, but it can't answer all of life's questions, can it? And obviously, there are certain things that can't be cured, as you say, with that conventional approach. So I'd be interested to hear way more about this and what you do with brains and such. That sounds fascinating.
On that note, where the Reverend asks the occultist in front of the psychiatrist, "What do you do with brains?" Because I feel like this is the setup of a fantastic joke. Um, Wendy Levine, you arrive. You're late. You're late. You were supposed to be here. You get here and you see that there are cars outside. This is post-working hours. Mr. Madson's car is here. You can see that there's other alternative cars here that clearly are going to be the guests, unless you've got people coming after hours. You've arrived. How do you enter, Wendy?
So I arrive in a luxury sedan that I am being driven and escorted in. It's certainly not mine. By the time I step out of the vehicle, you can tell from the high turtleneck with the long sleeves, the long wool skirt with the boots, and just like the modest satchel that I'm carrying. There's no way I can afford this. This is probably me being escorted from place to place by the generosity of Mr. Madson. So I enter into Burger Castle, but the one thing I am not going to do, I am not going to rush, I am not going to run, and I am not going to give the appearance that I am ashamed of being late. Because at that point, that's just insult to injury to the fact that I am late. So I am going to walk in through the doors. I am going to look at those that are gathered. I am going to give a very politeful and a grateful nod for them being here on time. I'm going to approach the counter, and I look down, and I see a tray with my name on it.
Yeah.
Only keeper, I don't eat greasy food. I would not partake in anything that has been saturated in this much grease. That's not part of my culture. That's not part of my dietary. So I'm going to look down. Someone messed up. Someone didn't get this correctly. So I'm going to reach into my satchel. I'm going to pull out like a thermos container. I'm going to twist off the lid, and I'm going to ask for whomever prepared this tray to please come forward.
It's the same young chap who was speaking to the Reverend earlier, and he comes forward. Hi, Miss. Is everything okay? What can I get for you today here at Burger Castle? We're here to serve and please, and anything that you need is my absolute desire.
What's your name? May I have
Jesse.
your name, please?
Jesse.
Jesse. Were you the individual that took the opening order from me yesterday, Jesse?
Yes, ma'am. If you were the lady who called on the phone
Yes.
for Mr. Madson, then that was me. Yeah, Jesse.
Yes. Jesse, would you be so kind to pull up that order for me, please? Did you write it down?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And he kind of runs off, and he kind of runs into a back room, and you hear things kind of being like, like almost thrown around, like where the hell's that order? Slam, bang, crash, all these kind of things going everywhere. And then he like holding up almost like as if he's found like the Holy Grail, and he comes running back to the front desk. Here it is, man. I got the order here.
Very good. Jesse, will you please look down at the order and verify what it is that I asked to have prepared for myself, please?
Okay. So we got the burger for Mr. Hardee, and then the 3 burgers for the Reverend, and
And Dr. McDonald's Pepsi was watered down, correct? It was a 3-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. And what was supposed to be prepared for Wendy Levine?
I'm sorry, Miss Levine. It says you should have had salad.
That's correct, Jesse. It should have been a salad. I'm not upset. I just want you to take this as a coaching moment. When you're given instructions, especially in a point or a place of employment, it's very, very, very important that you follow those instructions to the best of your ability. You took the order down correctly. You see that I ordered a salad, but that's not what was prepared for me. So I just want you to take this as like a coaching moment, that this is something that can be improved upon going forward. Right, Jesse?
Of course I am. Oh my God, Miss, I'm so sorry. I feel so embarrassed right now at that moment. Wendy and Reverend and Doctor and Christina, you hear a toilet flush. You hear heavy steps. You hear a door slamming open, and then another door a few seconds later, which opens into the restaurant, and you see this wonderful chap. Some of you might recognize him, maybe. Oh, well, Wendy will definitely recognize him as her employer, Mr. Sam Madson, the oil baron turned burger joint investor. Reverend, you may recognize him from your congregation. Doctor, you may have read about him, especially since the job offer. And Christina, the same for your good self. But he comes in as Wendy is giving this coaching moment to this young boy, Jesse, and he is still doing up his belt. His shirt is half out. He's waddling out. He's going, oh, God damn fucking belt and piece of shit, right? Fucking, oh, hey, everybody. And he's like, his hair's kind of like hanging down over his face, what kind of limp, greasy hair he's got. This is a big guy. And he is kind of carrying his weight, doing himself up. Sorry, I've been here, but I've been in there, if you catch my drift. I've making myself ready for the meet and making some room. I think one of the boys said, got it, dropping the kids off at the pool, am I right? Okay, tough crowd. Right, well, let's get to work. And he kind of walks straight up. He sees the 3 of you sitting at a table, in the window, actually, a bit further away. But he is so loud and so egregious with the way that he presents himself that like you can't not see him. And the fact that there's nobody else in here apart from the cooks. And he walks right up to you, Wendy, and right up to Jesse. And he kind of walks right and goes, okay. And he's kind of getting the last bits of his shirt tucked in, which don't really cover his belly the whole way. I empathize with this gentleman. And he's kind of getting himself all sorted. And he kind of walks up and he's like, oh, okay, right. Wendy.
Yes, sir.
Which one of these is which? Before I go over there, I don't want to embarrass myself. Oh, you're not going to eat that burger, are you, Wendy?
No, sir, I'm not.
He's already picked it up and he's taken a huge kind of like chunky bite out of it. God damn, I love these burgers. Wendy.
Yes,
Who's
sir.
who?
Would you like me to lead you over and make introductions, or would you like me to forward
Damn
those
it, woman, just tell me who's who.
Yes, sir. So the young lady with the drums, that is Miss Christina Hardee, double E's at the end, not a Y. Sitting directly across from her is Reverend, not pastor. And I go through a few more designations that I know that he's going to forget. Not pastor, not minister, not father, Reverend Earnest Culver. And then directly to his left is going to be Dr. Vina McDonald. No S at the end of that, sir.
The woman's a doctor.
Yes, a psychiatrist, one of the best. From my understanding, she's one of the first women in the field.
She is.
From my understanding, she's one of the first women in the field, sir.
Oh, all right, right. He picks up whatever your drink is, and he's like kind of serving it, slurping it up, and he just kind of go, right, Wendy, I don't mean to call you out here in front of everybody, but when I ask you to introduce who's around, what I mean is, what are they into? What do they drink? What do they, what do they do? Do they play golf? Do they make origami? Now, I'm not picking feathers here, Wendy. He is saying this loud enough for you all to hear.
To hear
This
it.
is like loud. I'm not picking feathers here, Wendy. I just wish you would follow my instructions to the best. I'd like you to see this as a coaching moment, my wonderful Wendy. I think this is something that you should maybe reflect on. And the next time I ask you to introduce me to some people, you give me something to talk about rather than the jobs I already know that they do. But, Wendy, good job. And he kind of like slaps you on the back with his greasy, gigantic hand and goes, right, let's go say hello to the troops. And he walks over to the kind of table you're in, and he kind of comes over with this this larger than life attitude. These gigantic kind of hands slam on the table. Well, it is a pleasure to get you all together here for this weekend, and I am so pleased you are here. Me and my business cannot thank you enough. Let me just get myself sat down, get myself comfortable. And he's like wedging himself into the chair table kind of booth area, and it's quite a sight to behold as he's kind of doing this.
Sand roll or
sand roll, quite
Sand
possibly.
roll.
Yeah, size roll. He kind of like gets himself in, and at that moment, Wendy, you realize that there's not a chair for you unless you bring one over.
That suits me fine because I would prefer to stand during this meeting anyways.
Perfect. Excellent. And he kind of goes, well, Wendy has told me all about you, which is quite wonderful and very detailed. Very good job, Wendy. Good job. Gives you another kind of pat on the arm. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Just give me a quick howdy doody. Remind me, Christina. Sorry, Miss Hardee. Sorry, this is a business meeting, Miss Hardee. My apologies. What you got there? Some kind of bongos?
So Christina has managed to appear surprisingly relaxed, considering just how close this giant man has gotten to. And even though she's in this little plastic chair, she seems like she's lounging. That's absolutely right, sir. I am delighted to be able to come and bring my expertise to help your wife with her clearly difficult condition, and I will bring all of my vast knowledge from a number of different sources. I really tend to think of myself as a generalist. I know all sorts of things, and I really feel like working with these, and she's just beaming smile, two brilliant individuals will be able to do everything you need to do.
Jesse, bring me a double slider. That sounds great, Miss Hardee. Hardee. Great, good drums. Doctor. You're a woman.
Yes, a woman and a doctor. Times they're different now than they used to be, and women can be doctors, sir.
Oh, well, yeah, apparently so. I'm impressed. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. As one of the best in the country.
Well, that's why you're here. Money, spare no expense. We wanted the best doctor here, and look at what we got. We got the best woman doctor in the world. This is quite mighty. A brain doctor, mind doctor.
Yes,
is that
doctor
right?
of psychiatry. Yes, I'm a psychiatrist.
Oh, well, tell me, doctor, what can you psychiatry out of me? Most
probably
successful.
A lot of things.
Oh,
how do you feel about your mother?
My mother.
Yes.
Can you give me a psychology roll, please?
Oh,
yes, God.
Absolutely, I will.
Yes.
Wasn't expecting this.
Newman.
It's a 41 under 50.
No,
young man.
Okay. You asking about my mama?
Yes, of
My,
course.
my mother, my mama. Well, my mother, she's a beautiful woman, strong woman. She ran our family. When my daddy was off making his millions. Runs in the
And
family.
I suggest I would suspect then that you married a woman that's quite like your mother. You look up to her?
Anna?
You wanted to be close to her?
Apart from going a little bit doolally, yes, you are right. My beautiful Anna, my beautiful Anna. She's a lot like my mother. But I would say my mother understood the business of success a bit more than Anna. Anna's a little bit more, should we say, caring, a little bit more soft, a little bit more. Jesse, where's that burger? A little bit more liberal, shall we say? Not like my mother.
And so you wish that someone would treat you maybe a little bit more firmly, like your mother did. Then you wish your wife was more firm with you, sir.
Well, now you've said it. My mother's firmness with me was what made me the man I am today.
And now you're acting out like a small child, just waiting for someone to reprimand you.
Oh, my eyes go straight to the floor.
My behavior is like a child at all. Jesse, where is my goddamn burger? I am hungry and I want to be fed. I am not a child. Dr. McDonald, I appreciate your insights here, but I fear I have yet to see evidence of their success. But, I do not mean to embarrass anybody in front of the wonderful Reverend Earnest Culver. Oh, Reverend, it is a goddamn... Oh, it is a gosh damn pleasure to have you here.
Funny, sir, it's a pleasure to be here, sir. It's finally great to actually meet you in person. I recognize you from the congregation. I've seen you in church on Sunday, and I'm pleased to have you there, but it is great to actually make your acquaintance personally, and I hope that I can remedy your situation in some small way. And I'm here to help you and your lovely wife, Anna, of course.
Oh, I appreciate you coming after, we some might say significant donations, but that's by the by. It's having you here to talk some sense into my wife. I mean, you're all here for this reason. As I briefly mentioned, through Wendy here, briefly mentioned, the wife, she's unwell. And when she's unwell, I'm unhappy because I'm a caring, good husband, you understand. She kept me up at night, nagging away about my recent purchase of this here wonderful burger restaurant. Now, the Burger Castle here, this is the first in what I hope to be a chain, you see. So I got grand designs, grand hopes. But my God, my wife, who I love more than life itself, is talking absolute nonsense. She's talking about wild dogs. She's talking about these black veiled men telling her that I'm gonna die. Oh, Sam Madson gonna die. Oh, silly nonsense. Oh, it was something like that. I don't know. She was hysterical, I tell you. At this point, Jesse brings over this double burger, but Jesse, being a good employee, has actually brought over a couple of double stack slider burgers. And at this point, Sam Madson picks up one of these burgers and he takes a bite, and he's now talking as he's chewing, and you can see grease running down his chin. You can see he is just greedy for this food. I thought to myself, if you can't help her, then I don't know what I can do. Do whatever you need, whatever she asks. What she doesn't ask, as long as it doesn't interfere with my business. Now, that is the key. I don't want anything interfering with this. And he's kind of like holding up a burger and shaking it, and there's like fat and things just kind of like dripping off it. And she's at home, you see. I didn't want to bring her here. This place, I think sends her a bit doolally. She thinks this place is the reason I'm gonna die. And she's waiting at home for you. I just wanted to meet you here before I met her there. And before you met her there, I wanted to have the opportunity to talk to you, talk some sense into you before you talk to her. And I would say your guest rooms at the house are ready. You've each got a room for the weekend. Anything you need, we can provide. Any food you want here from the Burger Castle, absolutely on the house on Sam Madson's dollar. Now, I think it prudent that considering I'm being so generous with this monetary offer to talk some sense into my wife, find out what is wrong with her, and flick that switch so that she's back on track with the old Madson money-making man schemes, I gotta get back to work. So, any questions before I send you off to see my wife back at the Madson house? He can kind of sit there and just taking bites of the burgers now.
Yes, sir. Which treatments have you tried already? Opium, morphine, cocaine? Any of them have been prescribed already to the young lady?
No, I mean, she had trouble sleeping. She has a bad nightmare. She doesn't need to see kind of. Well, I mean, I don't mean to say she doesn't need to see a doctor. I mean, you're here, but you're a head doctor. You should be able to tell her to stop being crazy. No.
Oh, well, yes. Well, sleep deprivation can cause all sorts of kinds of hallucinations and thoughts, and so that maybe the medication would help with that. Just throwing some ideas out there. If she's having nightmares, she's obviously not sleeping well.
I'm sleep deprived, and he's like pointing at you and himself with a burger. He's kind of going, "You saying about sleep deprivation? Yeah, I'm sleep deprived. I'll be hallucinating about burgers and he's like looking at the burger, going, "I'm burgers and."
And can I ask, what precipitated the downturn in young Anna's health? Is it a recent thing? Has it been a while since she's felt well?
He kind of finishes one of the burgers, puts the wrapper on the tray, sits back and really stretches out. He kind of like half leaning on Christina at this point as he's kind of like stretching out in the booth. Well, it seemed.
Can I give him a sharp poke somewhere unpleasant so he doesn't lean on me?
Oh,
there we go.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to roll for that, or is this just like I'm just giving him a jab?
I'm happy to roll for it, but I'm wondering if I have a jab skill.
Jab skill. Could be navigate on the sides of him.
Dex.
Let's go with Dex and see.
Dex is good.
Right.
Roll for boundaries. There we go.
Roll for healthy boundaries.
Roll for healthy boundaries.
40 versus 40. I have a 43 Dex. Okay.
Wow.
40 versus 43. That's a successful
That
prod.
is a success. Okay, so you give him a jab and he just kind of goes, well, like, oh. Oh, sorry, Miss Hardee. I thought you were a bit further along the bench there. You seem to be taking up a bit of space. Reverend. My dear Anna, she has been an absolute stalwart, absolute sidekick to my capitalistic adventures, you see. But it just so happens this Burger Castle, this new restaurant venture, it is new for me. I'll admit, oil has been my business. That delicious black liquid in the ground there that is just liquid money. That has been my lifeblood, and it's been in the family from my papa right down to me. And my father made a hell of a business out of it. But my father, when he passed away in the not too near past, and I was, Reverend, I can tell you now, in front of our Almighty, I was a broken man. My father was everything to me. He was a role model. He was an example of the man I want to become.
Well, of course, but Anna, when did she take a turn in her health?
So I digress. My papa, he left me some money. And that money I used to buy the Burger Castle. And the Burger Castle, as soon as it came
well
into
spent,
my
if I must say.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
this is a fine place and a fine food you've supplied with us.
I appreciate your good reviews. That's amazing. But Anna, she don't agree with you. The night,
Mr. Madson.
3 days ago, sorry, Miss Hardee.
I'm sorry. So who did you buy the Burger Castle from?
Oh, I bought it. There were two chaps who started this business up. No, they didn't have it looking like this though, with all the white tiles and the clean kind of like, the way that the chefs are in that, where you can see in the kitchen. It was Mr. Eddie Irving and his partner, Mr. William Andrews. Nice gentleman, nice gentleman. Not as busy savvy as me, I can tell you that. You gotta hear his belly kind of like turning over and rumbling. 3 days ago, I was here with those gentlemen. We signed the deed 3 days ago. I have me a mighty fine tour around here. Hey, you know? I came in at 10 o'clock for that tour, and I must have been so blown away by what I saw. It was near goddamn 4 o'clock before I left. Time flew. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Anna, that night, started having these like silly little dreams. I think it's like fear of new horizons, the fear of success, maybe. Doctor, you should probably be writing this down. The fear of me succeeding more than I already do.
Is Sam looking different to how I've seen him before? So if he's been in the congregation and he's quite a famous person, presumably, or at least a well-known one, is he acting or seeming different to what I've seen before?
Okay, Reverend, I'm going to give you an option of 2 roles. I'd like you to either roll a psychology roll, which is more about could it identify a change in personality, or a spot hidden, which might be more of a physical change.
Okay, I've got 25 in spot hidden, but I have 70 in psychology, so I'll go for that.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's still a fail with 88 versus 70. Can I spend some luck? I'll spend 18 luck on that, if that's okay.
Because you rolled ridiculous luck.
I did. I'm just going to throw it away.
Spend more than you
I'm
need.
threatened by the Reverend's psychology score, which is higher than mine. And I find the Reverend to be very threatening right now.
Very
well,
threatening.
I find that sort of recognizing the sort of the way that people act from time to time is kind of handy in my role. Understanding behaviors and the human psyche. In an uneducated way, of course. I mean, I don't have book learning. This is just stuff I've picked up from. Well, I say no book learning. Obviously, there is one book I've leaned into quite hard over the previous few years, but no, this is more instinct rather than university learning, as it were.
Well, your instinct, Reverend, it actually does you well here with those 18 points of luck. You recognize, from what you've previously seen with Sam Madson and Anna, not only are they an incredibly loving, caring couple where they absolutely are each other's stand, they absolutely support each other. In this instance, you see that Sam Madson has just been consumed with this idea of greed. He's just been consumed with this idea of success.
When you say food. Greed, do you mean success greed, like for money, or is it for food? Like just because
you're seeing both of it. You're seeing all of it. The way he's talking about business, and then the way he's consuming these burgers, it almost feels like, with your success, you might see in this personality here that he is actively trying to fill a hole.
So Christina has been making the same basic assumptions, even just in terms of she's a firm believer in magic in a way maybe the others aren't. And she's beginning to suspect there's something wrong with the meat. And so what she is going to do is she's going to try and excuse herself and go and throw up. Because she really doesn't want to have this inside of her, because that's very much part of her belief. So she thinks it's wrong. So if she can, she's going to try and excuse herself and basically go into the bathroom and.
Okay. Yeah. Just before you do that, Christina, could I ask you, just before you do, with your occult knowledge and with your, I'm guessing, natural suspicion here that Christina's having, with some of the same kind of synapses firing there. Can I get you to give me a power roll, please?
Oh, man. That's delicious.
Oh, this might be coming.
Oh, this is delicious.
44 out of 80. I can spend it to a hard success if you'd like.
Yes, please. Only
Ooh.
because the role itself is at a hard success. So I want to give
All
you that
right.
opportunity.
Spending
Wow.
4 points of luck.
Fantastic. Thank you for your luck. So hopefully this isn't what you thought it would be. It was the sense, it was the panic, but leaning into this feeling. And Christina, Hedge, Christina, when she kind of feels these things, especially within her occultist nature, how does that kind of like trigger for her? How does it present itself?
So Christina is a believer. She tends to believe, if anything, she believes too much too fast. And she tends to trust her gut instincts even when they don't really make sense. So this is
Mhm.
one of those things. She has decided this meat is bad, and she has decided that she doesn't want to touch it. And she decided that she needs to get it out of her system. So she's probably eaten like a couple of bites of that burger, and she's just decided it's so she cannot abide the idea of it staying within her, because obviously like, what you consume is so much part of you. Your body is a temple, and such forth. And she is disgusted by this place already.
So with that in mind, it's this moment, it's this power that actually takes you by surprise. Rather than looking at the food and seeing anything, rather than looking at the meat or feeling or sensing anything about the burger itself, it's when as you get up to go to the toilet to expel this food from your body, you catch in your periphery Sam Madson, and you can see that he almost has like a very gentle light, but almost green aura. And it links very much into this feeling that you're having. You're seeing this sense of like greed. You're seeing this sense but you almost see it not just as an aura around him, but almost like the veins, the arteries. You can
Oh.
almost see it kind of pulsing, running through him. It's not necessarily something on him. It's him.
Oh.
And you think maybe in your life you have seen others, maybe not the same color, but you've seen other people with auras like this. And it's when a person is so fundamentally consumed by a type of nature or behavior, their traits define their person in these instances. But you're very welcome to go to the toilet as well. And
yeah, so I think the assumption Christina has is Christina doesn't have that insight the Reverend has that he used to be good. Instead, she just thinks this is a horrible man, and in her head, what she's interested in doing is getting Anna away from him. She thinks this is an abusive situation, so that's what she's got in her head. And again, she jumps to conclusions.
Well, as you're saying that and getting up from the table and possibly taking off to the loo, he's reaching across the table and grabbing whatever leftover of your burger there is, and he will begin making his way through it as he kind of sits there and kind of looks at the doctor and the Reverend and kind of looks at Wendy and just says, Wendy, I'm going to be getting back to business in a minute, so anything these guys need, you sort them out. You make sure they've got what they need, but Doctor, Reverend, anything else I can do for you?
The Reverend will kind of place his hand on Sam's hand as he goes to like put the burger in his mouth again, and he'll go, Sam, I understand that this must be incredibly hard for you. It must be so difficult with Anna taken so ill so suddenly, and it must be hard to live on your own like this. But food is not a replacement for love. We will help you and we will help Anna, but you need to help yourself as well, and you need to look after yourself. You.
Oh, Reverend, this food isn't replacing my love. My beautiful Anna is still there. I'm just enjoying this new business enterprise, and I am full of love. It just so happens today, Reverend, you caught me when I'm also full of sliders. Oh.
I mean, I enjoy food as the next man. He'll gesture to the 3 burgers on his plate. I do enjoy filling myself up from time to time. It helps give me the energy to carry on and serve my parishioners, but we also need to remember that gluttony is a sin, sir. And although we can we can really lead ourselves to temptation in times of weakness. And it feels right now that maybe, sir, you need to take a step back and really think for yourself as well as your wife.
As he's kind of nodding, he's ramming the last part of the burger in his mouth when you talk about it being a sin because he doesn't want to leave it. He's just like, holds his finger up, kind of saying 1 second, just as he kind of chews and swallows. Well, Reverend, you know I'm not a sinful man. I'm by the rules of the church.
You're a church-going man. I see you there every Sunday, and you've already made some very kind donations to the congregation, which is appreciated. The good deeds that we do are on your behalf as well as on mine and on God's himself. But please do look within and see if there is that pain within you. It cannot be filled with food.
Reverend, I hear what you're saying, and I think I can find a little bit of spiritual solitude and praise, perhaps. If my dear Anna can stop having these things, let's all remember we're not here to address my particular foibles. It's my dear wife. But I excuse myself, and I appreciate everything you're saying. But I am a busy man, and I got to get back to work. And his hands slam down on the thing, and he's kind of like squeaking out of the booth and the table here. And he kind of gets up, and he has to kind of like half grab onto Wendy to pull himself up. Sorry, Wendy. And he's kind of like. Well, I have a very important meeting, and I'll make sure to check in with you soon. But if you don't find me here at the Burger Castle, which I probably will be unless it's late at night, where I'm trying to get some sleep, depending on your successes, I'll be at home checking in on the old ball and chain. So if you'll excuse me, a pleasure to see you all. Get to business. Fix that wife of mine, and I will see you after another couple of meetings. And then he leans in, Wendy, to you and whispers in a way that's not a whisper and just says, Wendy, I got to take myself off to the old gentleman toilets again and just make some room. Listen, I need you to make sure. And he's quite close, and there's that horrible breath and everything on it as well. You can smell the grease. It's pouring out of him.
I icicle all the way down, just super still, staring straight forward.
I'm making myself a little bit sick doing this, but he's such a fun character to play. Sorry, I'll stop having fun playing a character in a minute.
Oh, no, enjoy yourself, babe. I'm enjoying watching it.
It's just fun. Just terrible human. I mean, great human.
Staff here,
he's kind of
here.
Goes, you make
I
sure
need
they
a
fix
working
my
wife, and she needs to be on the program. You
understand?
Yes, sir, I understand.
That's my girl. And he gives you another big slap on the shoulder.
Oh,
and as
God,
he walks to
the
toilet,
grease
goes,
print
Jesse!
all over.
Oh, yeah. Jesse, 3 more sliders. I'll be there in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. And he probably goes in, and Christina, you probably hear like doors slamming and closing as he goes into the gents. And Sam Madson is now in the toilet. If you'd like to do any follow-up interviews, you know where he is.
I have a quick follow-up question for you.
The floor is yours.
So,
of course,
I've onboarded recently. May I roll an accounting or anything that you want to choose to determine, like in the back of my head, if I realize or recognize this was a good business deal that he signed into from Eddie Erling and Willing Andrews?
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Yeah, accounting roll. That'd be fantastic.
All right. Coming at you hot. This is a hard success, 24 under 65. When he made this deal and I was looking over the paperwork and I was looking over the taxes and the acquisition, what was my initial impression about this acquisition at all?
Your initial impression was that he paid way too much. And you know from the meetings that he had with both Eddie and Will, Eddie Irving and Will Andrews, who were the couple who ran the business beforehand, you absolutely knew that Sam Madson, like, still polite and still generous, but almost to the point of strong-arming them into selling. He was so convincing. He put all his effort into it, and eventually they seemed really reluctant. He didn't threaten them. There was no criminal activity. It was pure business, but it got to the point where they sold, and you could see that maybe they didn't actually want to sell.
Okay. So he overpaid for it, but even with his overpaying, this wasn't a flop. This wasn't a dive. This was a healthy business decision. He just overpaid for it. He was too enthusiastic. is basically what I'm getting.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Christina comes out of the toilet looking absolutely fantastic. She's just not a hair out of place, stepping out and rejoining and sitting casually amongst the rest of you. Well, that was interesting.
Yes, it was. I can't help but think that maybe that gentleman is at the root of some of poor Anna's ailments.
There's something going on. I mean, I don't know Sam Madson too well, but he seems to be acting slightly out of character. I mean, Wendy, Miss Levine, would you agree that he doesn't seem to be acting kind of in character to the Sam I know, at least from afar?
My apologies, Reverend. I was recently onboarded within the last couple of weeks. I don't have a basis of comparison to determine whether or not he's acting out of character or not. This is what I've seen since I've been onboarded.
Okay. And you said he bought the restaurant out just 3 days ago. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That was when the deal was finalized. Yes.
And that was around the time that poor Anna took ill. Yeah.
My apologies, sir. You asked that question, and I never did get a clear answer from Mr. Madson. But my assumption is it was shortly after or during the point of negotiation of the acquisition of the business. Yes, sir.
It did sound like that's what he was about to say as well, which is this. I mean, it's obviously of the utmost importance to him if she's only been sick for a very short period of time, and yet he's called us all here together to try to cure her in some way with psychiatry or the occult or the Lord.
I mean, he spoke of dogs and veiled men and some disturbing things. So I understand why he might. I mean, obviously loves Anna very much, and obviously why want to reach out to experts like ourselves. But yeah, I would have thought he would have turned to a doctor first, or let's just see if the flu played out a little longer or whatever it is that she has. Interesting.
Well, while I have the three of you. Oh, go ahead, baby. Sorry.
No. Shall we take ourselves to meet Mrs. Madson and see if we can get to the bottom of this ourselves?
Yes, I can escort the three of you to the home. I have your room set up. I don't know if Anna Madson is aware that this interview is happening. That could swing either way. Or if you want to interview any of the staff here or take a tour of the facility, I'm happy to arrange that as well.
Ooh, actually, I might just have a little peek around. Just a little nosy, if you know what I mean. I'm mostly just curious.
I mean, he said, did he change the decor here? I think he mentioned some of the tiles were new. All white, like it's very clinical, if you don't mind me saying.
That would be an accurate description, sir, yes. Please, I'll be happy to show you around, unless you wanted to do that absent my supervision or accompaniment.
Oh, having you here would be a pleasure.
I will step back and start that process.
As Wendy takes you around, and Wendy's able to kind of show you. Obviously, you're in the main area where the tables are, the kind of eatery area. Wendy comes on, lifts the part of the actual front counter, which opens up, and you see kind of Jesse and the others. They all kind of like get a little bit straighter, making sure they're all a bit more kind of like rigid and being as professional as they can be. And you're toured around the main areas. Really, you've got the kind of the toilet area, which Sam seems to be spending a lot of time in. You've got the eatery area, which is obviously where you have been, with windows that look out from the castle. And you've got this now fantastic kind of cooking area. Beyond that, you at the other end of the kitchen, you've got your freezers, you've got your kind of your fridges, but the main kind of cooking kind of big fryers, and the actual kind of the grill area and everything, that's very central, because it's something that Sam wants the guests to see. And it was something that I think he talked a lot about with Wendy. He talked about this with Eddie and William, about the idea of taking something that they tried to do with this idea of letting the customers see the food being made, but taking it to the next level to try and help with that idea of appetite, burgers, tasty.
Christina has jumped to the conclusion that it's something to do with the meat. So she is opening up the freezers and trying to figure out where the meat has come from.
Okay.
So
Is there a
basically, it
role
will probably
you think would
library
be
use.
library use in terms of reading labels and things,
Yeah, or
ingredients? Is that
maybe
the
it
idea?
might just be spot hidden, I guess.
Appraise meat.
Appraised meat.
My
Yes.
appraise is 5,
Swim
so that's going to
roll.
go badly.
Swim roll.
Um,
Climb.
Okay, I tell you
I
what.
mean,
I'm happy for you to give me what you want, but obviously, whatever role you're gonna roll, the obviously the information will be dependent on the role itself.
Okay. Um, yeah. So here's what she's going to do. She's going to sift through delivery notes. She's going to kind of go to where stuff's arriving in. She's going to read the packaging. Her aim is to figure out if there is anything off with the what is arriving. Like, is it?
Bingo. Okay.
She suspects it's secretly human meat, but she's that's just
Oh,
her
wow. That
wild
escalated
ideas.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christina.
Classic occultist. It's what she has at home.
Yeah.
Open
Yeah,
the fridge,
so
there's an
probably
arm in there.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Christina,
we're gonna-
I'm going to say, I would say actually a spot hidden here might, yeah, I'm happy for it to work because I can see where you're going with this in terms of looking at ingredients or addresses or delivery notices. Is there something that sticks out of place? Do you, are you looking here for anything that sticks out of place? If you wanted to dig more into the kind of I suppose, the delivery accounting side of things in a more forensic way, it would need to be an accounting role.
Accounting roll. Well, the accounting is 5, so let's go with spot hidden. Success, 21 versus 25, hot streak.
Superb. Okay. Much to Christina's disappointment, the labels and everything, the meat itself, it's coming from legitimate sources, or at least what Christina would be able to work out as legitimate sources. They're coming from legitimate farms, possibly farms that you even know within the area. There doesn't appear to be anything out of line that you can see right now with this meat. You don't see any fingernails, you don't see an eyeball, you don't see someone waving from inside the packet. It appears to be actually really good quality patties that have been delivered. Yeah. And you know, as Wendy's taking you around, she can kind of see you doing that. It might be that Wendy even tells you, not that I have these names, I will make them up, that Wendy even tells you that from Kirby and Thompson Farmers is where this meat is actually coming, and it's only just down the line from the Graham Farms where you're actually getting the potatoes from. And
We should go there.
yes, yeah, that's where the rest of the scenario takes place.
All of the ingredients we hear are FDA compliant, blah, 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 legalese. What exactly are you looking for, Miss Hardee?
I'm just fascinated by the entire process, really. I'm just being a little bit nosy. That was a lie.
And I'm not even going to push it today. Yep, that sounds great to me. I understand. One quick question here for you, Keeper. The staff, Jesse, and the crew that we have on, did we inherit that staff at the point of acquisitions, or is this a new staff that onboarded since purchase?
This is a new staff that has been brought on, and Sam has kind of very much told them how he wants them to behave, how big, down to the millimeter, or you know, within the smile needs to be. And also the exact timing of patty pressure with your your kind of instruments and stuff. It's very much a now military operation, and if people don't do what he wants them to do, they know where the door is.
So I will articulate that with exacting clarity to the table that we didn't inherit the previous staff. He threw out basically the entire rules and procedures and the etiquettes and the food prep, and he installed all of this himself with blah 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 blah.
Well, I had no idea that Mr. Madison was such an expert in the culinary professions. Seems that he's got a real eye for food and for cookery and such.
It still might be good to talk to them. Where was that one? James or Jared or whatever his name was?
Well, Jesse, I believe.
You say his name and he just kind of goes, yes. How can I help? How can I help?
Yes, Jesse. Your boss there, Mr. Madsen, seemed quite insatiable for these burgers. Is that the normal reaction for people to have here?
Oh well, yeah, yes, miss. My boss, Mr. Madison. I mean, he's a wonderful man. I don't really
Does
understand
he
the
ever
question,
leave
miss.
this place with how many burgers that he's eating? Is my question, because he
Oh.
seems to just be absolutely insatiable for them and is just eating them constantly. I'm concerned. Is that how people normally react to your burgers? Is this some sort of outlier? The Reverend here ate 3 burgers, and I'm starting to get concerned about him.
Oh no, ma'am. A lot of people, the average burger consumption is 1.2 burgers, and that's not saying that they order 1.2 burgers, but it's that they order a burger, and then if they're a family that come in and the children don't finish their burgers, the parents often do. But this is about maybe waste consumption rather than actual order. Mr. Madsen, he is an exception because he believes in demonstrating the quality of our product by showing how much he loves it, so that everybody knows that he eats our product. He told us that there was a study done, and in the study that was done, and this was done about 10 years ago, that there was a young man, an athlete at a university here, and they got him to eat nothing but burgers, and this was for 30 weeks or something like that, and the proof positive was that he was the healthiest that he'd ever been. He was incredibly well fed. He had a fantastic stock of muscles on him, and he was a fine athlete, man.
Yes, I understand you, Mr. Young Jesse. Thank you. So Mr. Madsen, then every time he's in here, he's eating all of these burgers. That's fine, but he's really the only one that has had. But you've only seen him for like 3 days.
Yes, ma'am. But a brilliant 3 days, and he's been fantastic.
Do you know anyone that worked here before, Jesse? Any of your friends around town that worked here and that were fired so that you could be hired?
Well, my sister's boyfriend's nephew worked here for a bit.
Okay, that's a close but also distant relation at the same time. What was his name? Could I find
Frank.
him around town? Frank?
Yeah,
just
Obviously,
Frank.
just Frank. Obviously, since he has one name only, he's a very important character, and
Frank
I think has all of the
Schaefer.
answers for us.
Frank Schaefer is his name.
Oh,
Frank
there we
Schaefer.
go.
Newman,
Now he's a
you don't
valuable
know this.
Frank,
NPC.
now.
He has a van, and he drives around in his van, and he doesn't really stay in one place too long, if you know what I mean, miss. He kind of goes around in his van, and he's often self-medicating, ma'am. I don't want to speak bad of Frank, but Frank's the bad guy.
Newman, you don't know this, but if you give Miranda a character with 2 first names, she immediately thinks he's the bad guy.
His name is Frank James.
Really?
It's a good thing you went
his
with
name is
Schaefer.
Frank James. I thought it
Frank
was.
James.
I got confused. I
One.
thought it was Schaefer, but it's definitely Frank James.
Frank James.
Okay, well, it's nice for you to say that to me, young James, Jesse, Jimmy, whatever.
I'm
your
Jesse.
name
I'm
is.
Jesse Young, and he's
Jesse
Frank
Young.
James.
And he's Frank James. Perfect. Yes, thank you. You've been helpful.
Christina has a new theory. Occult
Love to hear it.
symbology on the cutlery. That's the new theory. So we're going to go look at the cutlery.
I'm also
Cosmic,
willing
I
to just
need
start
like an
pulling
editing
down
banner.
these tiles.
Every time there's a new theory, I just need to be like Christina's theory.
Welcome to this game at 10 o'clock. Today's theory is the cutlery. Approximately 3 seconds ago, Hedge came up with a ludicrous theory. So you check the cutlery, Christina. It's just cutlery. It's just bog standard cutlery. Most people don't even use it here. I mean, a few do. Some of the older clientele do, who still believe that you eat a burger with a knife and fork. But a lot of people. Sorry, doctor. But a lot of the new customers, much like Sam, they just consume. Hands to food.
So I think we're probably done here. Shall we?
Or meet with Anna.
Absolutely.
I think that sounds like a logical next step, although this decor is odd for an eater, isn't it? I mean, it reminds me more of a medical situation or even a slaughterhouse rather than a fine family eatery.
I would imagine it's for cleaning up all the grease that's all over the place. It makes it very easy to wiped
That does
down.
make sense. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah,
It is some
let's-
sort of strange white castle configuration, though.
Wendy, you do feel a slight pressure here. They keep talking about going, but then they keep standing around and talking and postulating. And you do feel this pressure. Sam did say to you, get them to Anna. The car is outside. There is a driver that's waiting.
I know.
As
And
much
they could
as
be having
they're,
this conversation in the
you
car.
are being the most brilliant kind of representative of the Madson kind of empire. But Anna's waiting.
Reverend, Doctor, Miss Hardee, is it possible that we could continue this conversation in the car?
I
If
think
you've
that would
concluded
make
your
sense.
investigations here, I would like to proceed forward to the Madston's house. We can always come back.
Oh, just one thing, Jesse. This is probably going to sound like a very odd question, but you haven't had any strange dreams, maybe dogs or something like that, and since working here.
No, sir. Reverend, are you as my Reverend? I skip out my dreams. Reverend, I had a dream about Jenny Collins down the road, but I didn't mean to. I didn't mean it was just like a thing. I mean, she's in the class above me, in the year above me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean. I was going to come to church and say it.
Perfectly understandable, and we're not Catholic, so we don't do confession. Let's just keep it clean. Perfectly normal for someone your age. Let's just remember, marriage is the best way of expressing yourself in God's love.
The other chefs are just absolutely wetting themselves that he's just blurted that out in front of all of you. Okay, so I imagine at this point, Wendy's kind of like ushering you out
Let's go.
in the nicest possible get a wriggle on kind of
let's
way.
move away. I am going to stop because it's important to do this to tell Jesse that he's done a good job.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. He's just like red now because the other guy's just laughing at him. But you get in the car. You drive across town, not too far actually, and you pull up at the house. And I'm going to show you an image of the house because it's quite a beautiful building. You pull up at this beautiful house. It's got these wonderful pillars. It's very old. It's very opulent. Wonderful kind of windows all round. This lovely grounds around it. And as you pull up in the car, you see it, and the driver comes around, starts opening doors for you, and obviously Wendy jumps out and she's there. And you get out of the car. And you hear two things. The first thing you hear is an almighty and spine-rippling howl. The howl of a dog. And it almost vibrates your entire being. And the second thing you hear is a voice. The voice of a woman who just almost screams through one of these open windows within the house, screaming, "Oh God, no, not that smile, no!" And that is where we will end Act 1 of The Castle of Greed. Thank you for joining us for Act 1 of The Castle of Greed by Phaedra Florou. If you have enjoyed this episode, then please leave a review wherever you watched or listened to this production. And if you'd like to support us further, please take a look at our Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/Miskatonic Playhouse. Or check out our website at www.miskatonicplayhouse.com and find us on the social media platforms with links found in the show notes. Until next time, when the curtain rises again.